Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa, and tonight is a little WuJu Wednesday. So Public Awakening is going to be joining us. Make sure you like and share this video. Let's see what's going on. There's chaos in the cryptos, and well, we'll use our words very carefully about what's going on otherwise. But we'll be right back right after this. Hi, public. Welcome to WuJu Wednesday.
Hello, and thank you for having me on WuJu Wednesday. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I keep pushing, I keep messing up with this new YouTube. YouTube changed a little bit, the app, just the appearance of it, or at least on my phone. Maybe it was just my phone's got an
Android
update.
only.
Yeah, but it's a little different. It's and I pushed the wrong one on occasion, and then I have to push it the other way. But it's all good. It's all good.
Interesting.
I know. This new face. Something changes, I'm like screwed up because my thumb's so used to just going like that, not
automatic, like a response. Yeah, natural. Yeah.
You ever have that thing where you think you have your phone in your pocket, but you don't, and you swear you feel it vibrating in there?
No.
They call it a phantom phone. There's actually a thing for it. It's actually like a thing. They call it the phantom phone. Yeah, and it's like you swear you feel it vibrating in your pocket, but it's not.
I've had a panic wash over me when I get like to the grocery store and realize I don't have my phone.
Okay, that happens.
Which that's embarrassing that's a true thing, but it's.
Well, I got my grocery list on there. You know, what are you going to do? You need your little monitoring device all the time now, don't we?
Yes. Oh.
People are so worried of the chip and the mark of the beast. It's already in our pockets.
We've had it with us. Well, and I was reading or watching something, I can't remember, that was saying like, because Canon's talking about, so we just went through the time change here, which I swear they voted on to abolish that, but we just still did it. And there was an article that came out that said that, and Ken was talking about, oh my gosh, I'm so tired and whatever. And he's like, why did they change time? I was like, well, it's supposed to give farmers more time to harvest. And he's like, but it's the same amount of time that the sun is up. It doesn't change the amount of time.
Yeah.
It just changes what you call that amount of time, So
still
once again, the homeschool kid is brilliant.
That's
But then I was reading an article where it's talking about how like having our phones next to us when we sleep messes with our circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm, because the light is going off. So we're sleeping, but even though you're sleeping, that distracting light going off.
Right. It doesn't even have to be the light. It's just those waves, that frequency still comes out of there and gets you. Like you can get a little bit of a tan or a little bit of sunburn even if you're in the shade.
Oh,
yeah. So it's just that being, not only that's bad. Using your phone anywhere between an hour or 30 minutes before you try to go to bed, that's bad because it tricks your brain into just keep going and going. What about all the EMFs? What about all those different frequencies that are coming out of your phone? It's everything. We're screwed. We're screwed with that stuff. I mean, it's luckily
I realize like we're inundated with frequencies. I mean, just because you can't see it. I mean, we should know that by now. We all so many of us use, I don't know anybody that doesn't use a Bluetooth something. Sure. So, and if you didn't use that, then how many of you used a remote for your TV? You've all used wireless frequencies, a wireless phone. we walk around with it up by our head and wonder why we get brain tumors, you know?
Sure.
I mean, it just, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to.
It's dangerous stuff. Luckily, humans are very adaptive, and our bodies become used to tolerating certain things. A lot of this stuff, I think if you took like somebody from some part of the world, you know, like straight out of the jungle somewhere where there is zero technology and there's none of this EMF and there's none of these frequencies going on, I think maybe they would have a lot, and then brought them into modern society where they're just constantly surrounded by it at home. You got the 5G Wi-Fi in your home sitting, you know, on the other side of the wall from your bedroom, or, you know, just even in the same room that you're sitting in. A lot of that stuff, I think these people who've never had their epigenetics changed by it, or their kind of tolerance built up over years, I think they get really sick. I think you would feel these things, you know, like you said, you don't have to see it. You don't even have to see like the blue light on all the devices, all the LED screens. It just looks like a normal screen, but it's this blue frequency of light that comes out that messes with our eyes, burns our retinas out, will wind up giving us, you know, cataracts at an early age, I'm sure.
Right. Unless you're taking C60.
Unless you're taking C60 and destroying the free radicals, getting them out of your body.
Use my link, but I couldn't find, my computer's all jacked up, so I have no links in this description. So you have to go to another video and watch it. Actually, we just had a really great video with Ken last time.
Yeah, I missed it. I started to watch a little bit of it and fell asleep.
I'm going to have him on again with you and I, because I know you love talking about all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So he's really great. Yeah. And I'm going to have him on more regularly. At least, he said at least once a month he'd like to come on. So I'm going to have him on more regularly too. So Sam Storm was saying, are you guys enjoying the blood? And I think he means moon. I was a wreck last night. Couldn't sleep. Not to mention the, you know, elections were going on, all that stuff. Because I was like waiting for the other shoe to drop, which I guess started rolling in this afternoon with all the shenanigans.
Right.
But that moon. In fact, we were driving home from jiu-jitsu with Cannon, and he's like, Mom, look at that red moon. Like, it's still red and really big and hanging low here in our neck of the woods. And the energy from it, and my poor husband, he came out this morning and he's like, honey, I appreciate you trying not to wake me up all night. But he knows, like, if I even move at night, he's like, knows I'm up. He's, you know, I try to like just lay there and not move and hope I don't wake him up. And so then I get up and I leave and I'll go out to the living room or something, or go to my office. Well, then he can't sleep because I'm not in bed. So then he comes out and he's like, are you okay? You know, out there at 4:00.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm not very affected by this one for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, no. I usually get either really
I'm super
excited
like
and sensitive.
Yeah.
I either get like that or I'll get wiped out and sleep. But no,
oh God, I hope I can.
I seem to be normal. I seem to be normal with this.
You are never normal.
I said I seem to be. Seem is the word there.
Seem to be.
I know. So thank you, though. Yes. Thank you. I just wanted to point out my hat.
Oh, it's
see the hat?
I voted Quaker State.
Yeah, see that? I just wanted to point
There's
that
been
out.
a lot of those hats around lately.
Yes. It's a good
thing. Yeah, they're good. They're white with that big Q on them for Quaker State.
Quaker State.
Cool. Yeah.
Just so happens there's some activities going on that seem to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, Uncle Cliff's been posting about the temporal markers and the excitement on the 13th.
Coming up, yeah.
Heightening on the 13th. And Mr. T said he was making a big announcement. Mom told me on the 15th.
Did you see the hurricane that popped up out of nowhere and
Nicole
and the track?
Yes. So I literally said, kind of looks like a big red wave.
Looks like a big red wave. Did you see the track though? Every single one of the spaghetti models, they call them, all the little tracks that goes like this and go up the coast. Do you see where they're all centered over?
DC.
No, directly over Mar-a-Lago. All of them.
Oh.
In fact, the average of all the different models literally splits the property in half.
For Nicole?
That's the next one, whatever this next one is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Spaghetti. You call it spaghetti? Is that what you're saying?
The spaghetti map or whatever. Yeah, spaghetti something.
Okay.
I
Nicole spaghetti map. Spaghetti model and alert.
There you go. Model.
Images. Okay, hold on. Let me. You can tell me which one.
Well, you'll see. It's literally right over the house.
Okay. Which one do you like the best?
Maybe the third one in.
This one?
Yeah.
With all the colors?
Yeah. So each one of those lines represent a possibility of the track of where it's going to go. And I think I can't read it. Let me see. Some of them have an average of all of them. There was the one I was looking at, there was a black line. And the black line was if you took them all together and averaged out exactly where it would go. It's literally, I mean, you know where West Palm Beach is? Look. It's right over. Interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
Maybe that whiter one. I don't know. But yeah, it's right over. I'm trying to find a picture.
Because the ones I've been seeing are like this from the Weather Channel. And it like whips over, I guess that's West Palm Beach, this area, which I thought it was further south. But then it seemed like it went right here pointing to you know where.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good too. Imagine that.
Wipe out DC, clean the swamp. And then I thought, oh, well, the red wave could be that it flushes all that out.
Yeah.
And horrifies everyone.
Well, there was supposed to be some major flooding in the storm drains in DC at some point. That was
subtropical storm. Nicole Maps tracker spaghetti models. Friday. By Friday, it's in Atlanta, past Atlanta, and headed that way.
Yeah, West Palm Beach. Let's see. Yeah, the map. Everything is directly going right over West Palm Beach.
Oh, look at this one. Washington, New York.
Yeah, that white one there. Does that have it? So West Palm Beach is like right on the bottom edge of those average ones.
Of here?
Let's see. So no. West Palm Beach is down low. I'm pointing.
It's down here.
I'm literally pointing at the television.
I can't see you.
No. West Palm Beach is on the East Coast. Believe it or not.
It's on the East Coast?
Mm-hmm. Over.
Oh,
right.
I didn't know that.
If you start from the bottom.
Wait, I can't see what you're doing at all.
I'm pointing.
Right here.
Where are you now?
Like north of Miami.
Yes, right there. Okay. Right as it starts to curve in towards the center.
Right where it comes in.
Yeah, that's it. That's West Palm Beach. It's literally dead center. I mean, odd, huh? But it was just odd that the average was literally split the property. When you zoom in, it literally split the property in half.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, not that there's anything fishy about that. And, you know, it's natural.
And it pops up right off the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, that's crazy. So anyway, that's a thing. Just saying, that's a thing.
But then look how they have it continuing all the way up this far inland.
Yeah, that's whether it turns into a tropical storm or a storm at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim Montgomery made a good point. In Cat 1, we don't even raise our eyebrows for those. That is true. But how many times have we seen these storms change direction and change strength very, very quickly? They can change intensity these days. You know, I'm just saying some
who knows what.
Some voodoo over here and some stuff coming down from a satellite over there. And ground-based radar pointing over here, and who knows?
Crazy.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Just something we should keep an eye on. I've heard stories in the past years ago of some high-profile people who have properties in Florida and actually had the storm stall over their property.
Really?
Had a major storm literally stall for like an hour over the property. Now, I don't know how a storm can stall. Maybe it's above my pay grade, but this guy just happened to be talking a lot of smack to the powers that be, and the storm stalled on top of his property and did like immeasurable damage.
What the odds?
He had
of
a
that?
ranch down there at the time, is what it was. Yeah.
So you are a precious metals guy.
I have been called such.
And I know that if you guys are interested in buying precious metals, contact Andy Scheckman. You can send an email to info@milesfranklin.com and tell them like when Lisa sent you, and they'll hook you up, give you the family discount, and make sure you're taken care of really well.
His rates are actually very good. I've looked.
Yeah.
His rates are very good. He's fair.
He's very fair.
Nothing over the top too crazy at all. It's you let with precious metals. One of the things is you let the market dictate the price, and whatever people will be willing to spend is what you charge, and that's
it is what it is. He's very fair.
Yeah.
And you may want to do things like not get the silver eagles, but just get, like Bix had told me when we were looking at buying stuff for the future, we were like, well, do we do the collectible stuff? And he's like, just get as much metal in your possession as you can, because right now JP Morgan is shorting the derivatives and trying to get as much physical silver in their possession because there's metal missing on the COMEX. Like all this stuff is happening. Yeah. But then here's this, and Satoshi Shawn had given me some coins to give away at meetups and different things. And those copper coins, and I love them because I think they're so pretty. They look like rose gold, but they're copper. And they're saying that like copper could be the new silver. Chinese copper companies say more mining is needed to boost supply. They're urging governments to mine more of the metal as concerns grow about disruptions to global supplies. This was more of Cliff High's data about failure to deliver in the silver metal or in the precious metals across the board. And with the premiums that are on silver right now and gold, and also the use case that's involved in copper, I think this is a really smart buy if you can get your hands on some copper.
The only problem with copper is that the premiums are so much higher, especially on 1 ounce.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The premiums are crazy. It's $1 or two. Hello, stop banging the door. Sorry. The premiums are so high on copper, especially 1 ounce rounds. If you're lucky, you can find them for $1. You really can't. They're usually about $2 for an ounce. And when you're talking, I'm not even sure what is copper now. $4, $5, $6 a pound.
I would not know.
Yeah. So if you do the math on that, you do just have to be careful. The best way, albeit the slowest way to accumulate copper, is always go through your change, pull out nickels. All nickels are part copper. I think it's 80-90% copper. And any pennies below 1982, pull them out, stick them in a separate jug. I've gone through my change every day for
pennies below 82
10 years. Yeah, pennies below 82. See, they split 1982 in half. Half of 1982 are all copper, and the latter half of the year they started making them zinc electroplated. So there's basically no copper at all in them. It's not measurable so much. So like electroplated gold jewelry, something like that. There's just a minimal amount on there. But 82 is the split year. So I've always collected for 15 years now, probably. Go through my change at the end of the day, throw one in one jug and throw the other in the other jug, and that's what I do. It's the slowest way to pick it up. If you want to buy copper the cheapest, you can always get the larger amounts that you can buy at a time, you could do something like that. You can also start saving your old wiring. You throw out an old fan, clip the wire off, and just throw it in a separate 5-gallon bucket or wherever you're going to collect all your things.
I think we're going to start seeing that again, like in the Great Depression, where they would never even throw out string or plastic. They rinse.
Sure.
Well, they didn't have plastic bags then, but then later, like my dad would get nuts when we'd use a plastic bag once and throw it out. And I was like, Papa, it's been used. We need to throw it out,
It's
But to
disposable.
him,
Nothing is disposable.
Reusable. Yeah.
Sure.
Everything can be reused until it can't be used anymore.
Yep.
So.
Well, we're there now to a point where we're seeing, at least around by me, if you go on like Facebook Marketplace or things like that, they're loaded with stuff. There's so many items on these websites. So many people are buying secondhand. So many people just don't even have the $120 to spend on a new bike for your, 5-year-old. So you go on Facebook Marketplace, you find one for $50.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's happy. But I know scrap metal guys who go around, on trash day, or they're on the bulk day once a month, and they'll take, every cord on everything. They're always cut off. You drive down the street, there's not a cord on anything that's out in the street. You can accumulate that way slowly but surely. But if you're going to buy, if you're going to buy copper, if you want to invest in copper, the best way is to always slowly accumulate it and get that drip coming in with those ways. And then if you want to buy it, I would look into buying the largest bars possible. Always look for the lowest premium. That's especially with silver, like you were just saying. You never, if you're investing in silver because you like silver, stay far away from the collectibles. Stay far away from limited editions. Stay far away from the high grade stuff. Just get whatever silver you can with the lowest premium. What's the lowest premium right now? Silver? I don't even know. It used to be junk silver. You used to be able to buy it close to spot value.
There's not much of that around anymore. I don't think.
Right.
I know Andy had
junk silver is good too.
Silver.
Right. Junk silver is good too because it's actually constitutional money. It's and any of these coins it's constitutional money. It's made through the Treasury, made by the United States Mint. This is constitutional money. So you're getting silver. You're getting smaller, divisible. I mean, what if these things in silver come true and it's $100 an ounce, and you want to use it for bartering, or you want to use it to buy something at the store, or you don't have that much, or you want to just, something is $50, but yet silver is $100 an ounce. What are you going to do with your silver eagles?
Oh, Lord.
Perfect
if these
answer.
weren't Canada, I would want some of these.
They're usually Canadian maple leafs are usually
it's a Kraken.
Oh, look at that. I would imagine there's a maple leaf on the other side. Either way, that's just, the prices on those have to be ridiculous. Such a high premium on something like that. The ones right next to them, the Austrian ones, those are always one of the lowest premium.
These?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Those are some of the lowest premium really out there. Those in Mexican, if you can find the old Mexican silver dollars. I think it was a one? Yeah, it was a one onza. I forget how many pesos it was at the time, but you just want low premium because, for example, if you were buying the high premium stuff, say you wanted 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you were buying high premium silver eagles. You were paying, $4 over, $5 over. So you might have been paying a 20% premium, 15%, 10% premium at the time if you got them at a good price. They're not buying them for that much more, for that 20% more than they would just buy your regular standard 1 ounce bullion coin at this point. I mean, you're still going to get, I think somebody was saying last week, a lot of these online places are buying at 10 or 15% over spot price right now. That goes not only for the silver eagles, you might get a little over, but that also goes for the no name 1 ounce, generic rounds. You're still going to get that premium disappears, or it becomes such a negligible level. If you're willing to pay, let's say, nice round numbers, if you're willing to pay $3 more per ounce to have a Silver Eagle over a generic 1 ounce round, when it comes time to sell it at much higher prices, that dollar or two, that $3 more that you paid to put a Silver Eagle in your hand, you're going to wish that you just had paid the generic price, which is a lower premium, and have more ounces. The goal is to have more ounces. Dollar price does not matter.
Metal. It's about the weight of the metal in your hands.
Weight. You want ounces. That's all that matters. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you paid. I mean, you're not going to get a happy return on that premium. You're not going to get enough of a return on that premium to validate having less ounces when you could have had more ounces. Especially a lot of people are buying dozens or hundreds or at a time. You know, you could have a whole fistful of more silver in your hand, and you know, who cares? You know, when you're getting 5% more when you go to sell it, or probably less when you go to sell the Eagles, then you know, $200 or $300 an ounce silver. You're going to wish you had more ounces.
Because at the point that you're selling it, we're in a crisis.
We're in a crisis, yeah.
Well, people
I'm
are
still not sure. I mean, I know everybody.
collectibles.
I value their opinion. Seems to think, and Uncle Cliff has always said, you don't want to live in a world with $300 silver,
$600 silver.
Well, you know, I mean, we've seen these prices of other commodities go through the roof.
I know.
And the end of the world hasn't happened yet. I guess silver has a lot more weight to it. Not to say, but it's the metal that holds the gold price down. So maybe inferring that if silver is 600, gold will be way, way, way high, and that'll make the value of the dollar go. It's tough to say. I'm not 100% sold on if it'll be the end of the world if there's 300 or 400 or $500 or $600 silver. I'm not. Things will be different, but things are different now.
Especially with this slow destruction, you know, I mean, the bad guys are getting taken out. I was encouraged, I shouldn't say that probably, but Mom sent an article, or maybe Charlie sent it, I'm not sure, about, you know, the whole FTX thing today. So, or it's really rolling out today. So CZ from Binance was going to buy out the FTX thing. They were basically scamming people, which, you know, where's the SEC in that? I wonder. But, you know, they
acting. So they were acting as a leveraged bank, or whatever that term is. I forget right now, where you sell more than you have and hoping that nobody's ever going to collect. But that's what the dollar does.
And Elon retweeted where the Sam Friedman guy, or the FTX thing, somebody, I think it was Hodlnut, tweeted and said, so people don't have anything to worry about. And they're like, absolutely not. And now they're like completely defunct. And, you know, and CZ has backed out of buying them because
they couldn't give everybody their cryptos that they said that they had on hand.
Right.
So what happens?
This is why we tell everybody, get your keys in your own possession, not your keys,
not your coins. 100% free. But my question is this: what happens if the whole neighborhood went down to the local branch of your local bank and said, "I'd like to withdraw all my cash, please"? It's not going to happen. They don't have it either. What's the difference?
Right. But that didn't even happen, and this thing shut down. So they're saying this could be the biggest crypto fraud ever, far bigger than Mt. Gox even. Here's a list of luminary. Oh, we've heard that word before.
Luminary
investors whose money in FTX is now gone. All gone. And you have to think about the rippling effects of this, because January, Series C investors in FTX, which valued the Ponzi scheme at $32 billion, were Tiger Global, which I've been seeing all this Tiger stuff on the promoted tweets. Okay, here are the list. Here's a bullet list. BlackRock, Ontario Pension Fund, Sequoia, Paradigm, Tiger Global, SoftBank, Circle. You guys know who Circle is?
No.
Circle is Block. Let's look up who Circle is. I don't want to misquote. Let's look up who Circle is. Before I go on, Ribbit, Alan Howard, Multicoin, Van Eck, Turnask. So people that had their money in these funds, it's now gone. So when people go, oh no, the FDIC is going to make me whole. My 401k is safe, whatever. If your money was in that company, it's gone.
Yeah, the FDIC isn't going to make you whole either. They're liable for trillions of dollars. They have a couple billion on hand.
So here's Circle about, will it tell us really who owns it? It's all a little club.
I don't know. So who owns it? Do tell.
Well, hold on.
Or who allegedly owns it.
Some of the members from our world's most influential companies, including IDG. Oh, this is our board. Our executives, Elizabeth Carpenter, Dante, Jeremy. Board of directors. Get started with Circle. Insight Project.
What a bunch of jerks.
Hold on. USDC is Circle.
Oh. Ha.
Which, wait a minute. Is that Coinbase?
I hope not. Well, fuck. You know what? Screw them.
Hold on.
Bastards.
Let me make sure.
My account was hacked years ago. And they didn't even respond to me.
Digital assets, blah, 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 blah. Legal and privacy, money transmitter, New York. Filing complaints.
Shout out to the chat. Thank you all for joining us. And there's a new time and our new later show. Thank you all. I know it's not the normal time, and I appreciate everybody joining. John, Phil, Fever Flav, Tom, Iceman. Yeah, boy.
Investor Relations, Policy Hub, Circle Ventures, Partners. Let's look who the partners are.
Investor Relations.
Payment Partners. Technology Partners. Join our partner program, but it doesn't have a list of them.
Oh, must be a thing.
Hold on. Somebody's done a report on this.
I just saw Blockchain Partners. Is that what you're looking for?
Where did you see that?
It was up a little bit. Yeah, up. It was on the right. Right there. So could this have something to do with why was USDC the one that was kind of booted off some of the exchanges and you had to swap into other coins? Was that the one, the stable coin that wasn't doing anything? Oh, and by the way, wouldn't that be another stable coin going down sort of in some way, possibly?
Possibly. USDC is available on many of the leading blockchains with more integrations expected. Circle's APIs can process card, ACH, and wire payments for billing and network possibilities for USDC. So Circle is a payment processing for USDC.
I see.
These are all their chain partners. Technology partners. Doesn't really say. Sending and receiving USDC.
You mean owned or backed or have some stake in?
I need to get somebody that's more tech savvy and specific to like.
Where's Sean when you need him?
Yeah.
It's family night. He's probably cooking some wonderful dinner and then posting it on Facebook saying, "Look at this dinner I made."
You can trust. BlackRock, known fully as a fully reserved stable coin. Every dollar of USDC on it is backed by cash and short-dated U.S. treasuries. It's always redeemable, 1-for-1 for U.S. dollars. USDC reserves are held in the custody and management of leading U.S. financial institutions, including BlackRock. Wait a minute. BlackRock was just on that other list. BNY Mellon. Each month, Grant Thornton, one of America's largest audit advisory firms, provides third-party assurance to size the USDC reserve.
Well, it looks like Grant Thornton didn't do a good job, huh?
I guess not. Grant.
Come on, Mr. Thornton. What the hell?
Let's see. Circles are regulated as a licensed money transmitter. So Circle and BlackRock were on that other list, but here they're saying that Circle uses USDC and they hold their USDC reserves in BlackRock.
Interesting.
That sounds a little nepotistic, right?
You really had to dig for that too, but there it is. Interesting. Sounds like, how things are just normally going these days.
Oh, visit and exchange, FTX.
Oh.
Probably can't get on that one anymore.
See what happens.
Oh, I can go click it and see if it'll let me. I don't think it'll let me. I don't know. Built by traders for traders. I'm not a trader, so I wouldn't know.
Nope. Very interesting.
Oh, Tom Brady, you poor thing.
All these guys, they get in pushing things. Didn't he give somebody a Bitcoin or something?
I don't know. Cards.
What is the current price of Bitcoin? Let's see.
I think we're 16 grand or
16,167 on my ticker. They all vary slightly from ticker to ticker. But that's so this is a bigger crash, if you want to call it, than some of the previous other ones that I've kept my eye on over the years.
It's a big deal.
70 to 16. Imagine the FUD that's kicking in now. I didn't even watch it. I really didn't even know until tonight. Until about 7 o'clock tonight, I didn't even realize.
Let's see. Remarkably, as ever more clueless pedigree investors piled up to fund this fraud of epic proportions, the valuation went super parabolic. After 2 early rounds in 2019 and 2020, FTX got its first real outside funding in July of 21, when it pocketed $900 million at a valuation of $18 billion in its Series B round. I don't even know what that means.
Wow.
This was followed by 2 more rounds, the most notable of which was Series C, when its valuation exploded into a staggering $32 billion. It was around this time that Scam Bankrupt Fraud started naming sports stadiums and imagined a world when FTX would buy Goldman. The chart below is definitive proof, or rather, especially the smartest investor, to not do their homework before allocating huge amounts of capital. Brinkman-Fried, Binance executives do their due diligence, could torpedo the deal. As a result of the FTX class, all the above named investors, among others, are set to lose all of their invested cash.
Yikes. All, huh?
All. There will be no bailouts this time.
Not for them, that's for sure. So there'll be no bailouts for any other type of banking institutions that seem to fail. I kind of picked up on you were saying something like that.
I think so.
I don't know how palatable it'll be, but as long as Sleepyhead is in the office, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's cutting everyone else off at the knees anyway.
I don't know.
And then,
I did hear we're in the car, and this is on Normie radio, that Russia was pulling out of the first city that they kind of took over in, or I don't know what the word is for that, but that they took over in Ukraine. And then they were talking more in the interview, and they were like, yeah, they've been bringing children out of Ukraine and having Russian families adopt them.
I still don't know how much I believe what the news tells us. Remember, can't believe a word they say, good or bad, up or down, left or right, for whatever
you just
reason.
have to kind of listen.
Yeah.
It's interesting though.
No other part of narratives with other events, world events, generalities are accurate, especially with the last few years, that big topic.
Well,
it's just so
speaking of that, hold on, there's one more thing. We had the vote yesterday, which we got demonetized on the video last night. So
of course
we do. So maybe Elon should buy YouTube. That would be great.
Or just make some type of streaming platform on Twitter that'll actually be able to work properly.
Something would be awesome.
What was that old streaming?
Vimeo?
No. The other one that was attached to Twitter, I think it was a while back.
Oh, Periscope.
I thought that worked okay.
Yeah, that worked pretty good.
I don't know how good it was at
the chat is streaming. The hardest part for me, because I really love our community, and that's the strongest part for me, that I would hate to not have that engagement. So this is very interesting. You know how Russia. Well, now all of a sudden the FBI is saying, warning, Chinese hackers are scanning state political parties. Well, was it always Chinese? Possibly with the help of Fang and anybody else?
Well, I mean, don't they have access to all the voting machines anyway?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And then here's where I caused Reggie came to my rescue. Thank goodness. It was late. I couldn't sleep. And poor library is out there. They lost from their lawsuit with the SEC. They've just been dominated by a bully that's supposed to be protecting American citizens. And it was just crazy. Anyway, and Craig Wright jumps in and says, well, that's good. We shall have to discuss your licensing now. The patents belonging to N-Chain that you're using. And I was like, and Reggie Middleton's, but he's the father of DeFi, so it should be a great talk. And then I was like, #patents matter. It may or may not have been very late at night. I may or may not have been poking the bear.
You did.
And so then Craig Wright responds to me, we precede his patent. To which Reggie says, which patent specifically are you referring to? And I'm like,
I can't believe you
crap.
You.
So
You're
then
a shit starter, stirring it up.
Blockchain Fitz jumps in. I believe he is speaking about the following patents per an earlier thread, because it was like, it kind of jumped. Like we were talking, I wasn't actually calling out Craig Wright. I was talking to someone else that was like, anyway, it kind of jumped, anyway. But I was just saying, like, hey, if you're talking about using patents, you need to talk to Reggie. So anyway, then Reggie says, this patent, as granted, has a priority date, does not seem to relate to our invention. This again. Doesn't seem to do what we are doing, although it does beat our priority date by a month. Then again, maybe I'm not just as smart as the doctor. Oh, because Craig Wright calls himself a doctor. I'm just a dad. Reggie's very humble. And then this gets better, guys. Reggie says, or Dr. Craig Wright says, Reggie has a patent that is primarily focused on ETH and Coinbase. With these, he has a strong case. And all of a sudden, everybody's kind of like, what? Huh? And then Reggie goes, well, thank you, sir. That's quite an upgrade from a quote, not worth the toilet paper it's written on that you said it was a couple of months ago. I'll take that any day. Cheers. To your credit, you may very well have a patents on Bitcoin itself. Those who doubt that should look. So this is like two genius innovators from very early on actually supporting each other in the space, because I probably should have not poked my nose in that. But it ended up turning out really great. They had a great conversation. So he's like
Coin Lisa, always bringing people together.
I'm bringing people together. He says, I'm sorry I was talking about Bitcoin. The discussion was in respect of that. No disrespect intended. Generally, in regards to Coinbase, ooh, I feel them groan. And then Reggie says, I see and I understand. Coinbase has dramatically beefed up their internal IP, legal capabilities, and then still decided to retain two top-tier firms as outside counsel. Let's see what they return with before I get cocky, but be aware we wouldn't file suit if we weren't very confident. Then Dr. Craig Wright says, I may have to discuss how to beef up any gaps, Reggie. We have patents that fill in any areas they will try to use in avoiding. There are always ways to help you strengthen your position. Like, when the brilliant can get together and have good intentions, like this can be good for humanity. So anyway, Reggie says, I'm always open to listen and learn. We're working very hard in the lab, and we will patch any and all holes we can find, and am inventing new things along the way. Nevertheless, I welcome any and all assistance. Craig Wright says, I'm glad. I have no interest in harming what you're trying to achieve. I would rather help you create a platform to deliver, and one that aids you to raise capital. Reggie says, that's good to hear. And Dr. Craig Wright replies, in fact, I want to help you put the plug in weak areas and build commercial applications. I'd rather have you create using my original technology and extend it. Unlike others, you work, hassle, and fight. That is valuable. You're not just waiting parasitically for others to give. That's quite a compliment.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty impressive. Anyway, I don't know BSV as well as Ethereum at all. Offers ample funding, and I'll have my guys look into it. If it's feasible, I'll build something truly creative on it, and it will be a legal build out, i.e. it will have implicit 566, which that's one of Reggie's patents, the ending numbers 566, and 477 licensing for devs who wanted to extend it. Oh, we need to look this up on Gematria afterwards and show everybody what 566 says.
Oh, cool.
Remember what I showed you?
Yes.
What I sent you?
I didn't know what that was for at the time, but now it makes sense.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I thought I told you that. See, sometimes I have a conversation just by myself and then send you only half the conversation.
Send me the response. Sometimes I look, I go, uh-huh.
And I'm like, huh? Uh-huh. Okay.
Why is he replying?
To put into perspective, 566 and 477 cover ODL, practically every offering of Coinbase stablecoins, asset-backed tokens, cold storage, staking, NFT transfers, implicit licensing would be very valuable. By the way, this offer is available to any credible platform. And then he says, just to set the record straight, I will offer embedded licensing to any serious platform, from Ethereum and Solana to Cardano, Polygon, and beyond. Licensing fees can be paid out of transaction fees, which I think that's super fair too. So this
turned out to a love fest.
It did. So I was like, oh, thank God.
Look at this.
They got distracted from my poking the bear. Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Good for you. Always bringing people together.
Yeah. The world sometimes smiles on my accidents. So then 566, I went in and did 566. Oh, and view rude words. Calculate. And it says, in the air tonight, on Rand, which is that book that my dad gave me. It's the same. It's the lady
Anthem?
it Anne Rand, the
It was
lady who wrote.
Anthem.
No, it's Anne Rand. It's the lady that wrote Atlas Shrugged.
And she also wrote a book called Anthem.
Oh, well, sorry. I'm sitting here arguing with you.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Then it says Las Den Kraken Free Q. I don't know what that means. Player, the old post office, the selfishness, psych, religious Reich, something deer heart. I keep seeing deer everywhere on stuff too. Beat the Bride of Price, programmable human, a flying car, purple rain, Prince. The socks decision. There's been tons of promoted tweets with socks and cat socks, chicken socks. I'm not sure how far down I should read this. Kate Upton gets into the sevens. Cures of cancer, last man on earth, life path number. But then look, there's no second. You know how there's usually a second.
Yeah. Second group of words there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, wait, there's one more. Road to Ruta.
Road to Root is in there?
Road to Ruta's in there.
That's very weird because he just posted in the comments. That's strange.
Oh.
Did you see what's up, Bix? How are you? Did you see the video I sent you a few days ago or a week ago where Anonymous had commented on Bix and his Road to Ruta theory and
No.
I sent you a video on it. Just one of the last official Anonymous, the guys who wear the little mask thingy, the Guy Fawkes mask, and
was it just to me or me and
Sean? I don't remember. It was maybe a week ago, so you got to keep scrolling. But yeah, they did a brought up Bix and his work, and he says, "Yep,
callmestormy.net. Great page. First video is fire. Not that one.
Let me see. Actually, I could probably resend it to you right now.
Do not forgive. Do not forget. Probably not that one.
Hold on. I'll show you in a second. You know who found it? Rice. Rice found it and sent it to me.
Rice, baby.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. There's a lot of... Every time me and Rice text, it's like a love fest.
We need to do a big meetup. I miss seeing everybody.
Here, I'll send it to you.
Mom says, look what Bix wrote in the chat. I can't see the chat. Hold on. Yep. Truth is getting out. Awesome. I'm ready for some truth. I need a little truth to encourage me.
I just texted you the link to the Anonymous video if you want to take a look at it. But I thought that was pretty cool. That was, they really gave his theory and broke it down and tied it into a few other things. I thought that was really interesting. Making the big time, man.
Man. How cool that we are here at this time right now.
How cool. I mean, I heard a long time ago that if you're here now, not just like with what's current situations, I remember I was just a wee young lad when I heard this, and that you choose your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, chooses to come in, when to come in and be a part of what's going on. Some people have memories of accepting this agreement, knowing that things are going to be difficult, and yet they've still done it anyway. We're all here now.
The Creature from Jekyll Island. Bix Weir began his own research and developed an alternative theory, which has a different motivation for the creation of the Federal Reserve banking system, and involves patriots infiltrating the Fed to destroy it from within. President Woodrow Wilson, who strongly opposed private banks, signed off on the Federal Reserve Act, something he deeply regretted soon after. According to the Road to Ruta theory, Wilson signed off on it out of fear of catastrophic inflation. The amount of gold being found in the late 1800s was causing an endless rise of inflation. By 1900, several mining companies were harvesting gold from the Grand Canyon, which was a major undertaking. An 80-mile-long road was built to access a coal deposit for power, and barges and steamships were assembled in the canyon to deliver this coal every day. By 1912, the New York Times reported that billions of ounces of gold were estimated to be dredged from this operation. And at this time, there was only 64 million ounces of gold in the U.S. Treasury and 160 worldwide. Adding billions of ounces would have been economically catastrophic. It would have driven the value of gold to zero, devastating the world's economies and destroying the wealth of the world's most powerful people. In 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was signed into law, the cornerstone of today's fiat currencies and debt-based economy. And in 1919, President Wilson banned all mining in the Grand Canyon. The massive influx of gold alone would have been enough to compel a new financial system. But there is more to the story. In the late 1800s, local homesteader Seth Tanner claimed to have seen mummies and artifacts in a cave within the Grand Canyon's Marble Canyon. When the Hopi learned he had seen the sacred site, they blinded him, sparing his life because of his Hopi marriage. In 1909, the Arizona Gazette reported that the Smithsonian was researching a man-made cave structure carved deep within the solid rock, 1,480 feet below the surface in Marble Canyon, big enough to house 50,000 people, with rooms full of ancient golden artifacts, mummies, and Egyptian hieroglyphs dating back 3,000 years to the Ramses dynasty. This is the same area that Seth Tanner described seeing the same thing. It's the same area where the famous lost city of gold was thought to be. And it's the land of the Hopi, whose ancestors once lived in the Great Hole Sipapu, commonly known as the Grand Canyon, where several geological formations have been given names from ancient Egypt. In 1956, two planes collided.
This is like where I was born.
The alleged cave system of Marble Canyon.
You were born in the Grand Canyon?
Well, I was born in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Well, actually in Kingman, because there's no hospital in Lake Havasu. But yeah, like
Over the next few
all this
weeks,
area
12
is like
helicopters
where
worked to
I was
haul out debris,
born.
and yet debris is still scattered everywhere. There were
Grand
no
Canyon
witnesses,
is
and the
absolutely
bodies of the victims
fascinating.
were
I
all
always thought it
buried
was
in
a
mass
silly
graves. The Leak Project's investigation of
thing.
this cave
Like, why does
shows
anybody
there
want to go
appears
see a
be
hole in the ground?
remnants of this recovery
But
operation.
once you see
The Grand Canyon is full of caves.
these kind of
90%
things,
unexplored,
caves,
Maybe we
off
need to
limits,
do a meetup in the
protected by
Grand
the US
Canyon.
the
military.
giant
Every
pyramids,
president
I
since
mean,
Bush Sr. has tried to secure mining rights
mountain-sized
within the Grand
pyramids.
Canyon, and all have been denied. This leads us to the second part of the Road to Ruta theory, that the Fed has been infiltrated by patriots on a mission to destroy it from within. Our main character is Alan Greenspan, who is friends with Ayn Rand, who published his 1966 essay, Gold and Economic Freedom, on the importance of a gold-backed monetary system. Greenspan was a gold bug. In 1969, a Swedish economist published On the Road to the Golden Age, which concludes that the best way to return to sound money is to run the fiat system into the ground by printing money into infinity, so that gold will restore stability and faith in the money supply.
Yes,
Fiat
burn
will be
it down.
exposed for what it's always been, a scam. In 1971, President Nixon ended dollar convertibility to gold, which invited the money printers worldwide to let loose. Not only was Greenspan a renowned gold bug, he may be the most unsung hero of the computer age. He was childhood friends with the inventor of the first shareable computer programming language, called BASIC, which Greenspan used to write the very first banking computer programs at his firm, Townsend Greenspan, back when punch cards were still being used. By 1985, Alan Greenspan was the expert on computer banking.
I suggest an Apple IIc and Apple modem. Then you can call up your bank and see how much money you have. You can even pay off your bills automatically. If you have any money left over, congratulations. You're doing better than the government is.
2 years later, President Reagan nominated Greenspan as Fed chairman. That same year, legislation...
Who's that
passed to
giant
restrict
behind
Grand
him?
Canyon airspace. During his first year as president,
That's a big
Ronald
guy.
Reagan formed a committee to investigate the possibility of returning to gold-backed money. The majority was against it, but Congressman Ron Paul's report argued that we need to return to a decentralized gold-backed standard. At the end, however, Ron Paul proposed holding off until the current fiat system had a chance to prove itself. In other words, run the money printers and let them fail. Also in 1981, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston published the first edition of their educational
There it
comic book,
is.
Wishes and Rainbows, which tells a story of a place that once had beautiful colors and golden flowers. but no longer does out of fear of being stepped on by the big people who live in Colorland, which is where the golden flowers can be found. Some say you can get there through the caves of Cobblestone Canyon. The main character of this comic, who decides to bring back the golden flowers, is Ruta. In the early basic programs that Greenspan wrote 60 years ago, Route A was the foundation. Ruta finds a golden light inside a cave of Cobblestone Canyon and begins bringing flowers back to her people, only to learn the problems of scarcity and demand. As she tries,
Notice it's a poppy.
She writes the equations from On the Road to the Golden Age, print the money into infinity. In 2007, the Boston Fed published an updated version of their cryptic Wishes and
Oh,
Remedies.
that's the one that
And in
Bix
this
gave.
edition, Ruta's solution in the dust is 11 plus 9.
11
Which looks
plus
an awful lot
9.
like 9/11. And right after this was published, the economic crash of 2008 began.
Is that today?
Also
11
in
plus 9?
2008, the
Yeah.
Bitcoin white paper is
Oh
published.
yeah, reverse.
And while nobody knows who
Well,
authored
reverse,
it, Alan
reverse,
Greenspan, with his 60 years of
reverse.
expertise in digital banking, certainly could have played a part.
In an ominous sign of the turbulent times we're all living in, we're starting to see people go through some really extreme things. According to new research, millions of people in America are skipping meals every day because of the high cost of food. Even in the world's richest country, families are depriving themselves of their basic necessities due to the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. In some states, nearly 75% of U.S. households can't afford enough to eat. If you have been to a gas station, supermarket, or tried to pay your electricity bills at all in recent months, then you know the economy is a total and complete mess right now. We're seeing bills pile up higher and higher. Debt levels soar. Rent and housing costs skyrocket.
I'll send him a
A trip
text
to
and
the
see if he
grocery
wants
store
to
is making us
join.
more anxious than
Cool.
the one before.
I don't know if he
Meanwhile, wages
can,
are
but
essentially flat. In fact, today's inflation means most workers actually took a pay cut. Conditions are getting exceedingly hard for our population. And to make things worse, a number of factors are now converging to create the biggest food crisis we've witnessed in our lifetime. In today's video, we've compiled the latest data that shows the reality many are facing, but the media seems to keep ignoring it. The pain caused by the highest living expenses we've seen since the 1970s is economically eviscerating millions of families in the US and in the entire world. A new study conducted by the United Nations highlights that some things that are happening right now in developing nations are foreshadowing what's coming soon to America. The unplanned shift to green energy and the crisis in Ukraine have left many countries across the world with alarmingly low energy reserves. Fuel and fertilizer costs are so high that the entire global agricultural industry is sitting on very thin ice. Most farmers can't afford to plant crops. Those who can are seeing their crops getting destroyed by extreme weather
if you go
events.
watch
At
the
this time,
documentary on
food
Sri
shortages are
Lanka,
becoming far more
that was the
expensive
test
than anyone
case.
can imagine.
They
Unaffordable
destroyed
prices
that
for
country.
gas, medicine, and housing, a stoking social
I think
unrest,
somebody's
and massive
here.
demonstrations all around the planet. Entire countries like Sri Lanka have gone bankrupt overnight.
Hi,
A
Bixie.
new report released
Hi.
by the United
Hang
Nations
on.
World Food Program uncovered
Is
that
Amy
9
there?
out of 10 families in Sri
No,
Lanka
she's
are
down
skipping
cooking.
meals to stretch out their food supply.
We got
Aha.
The analysis
Paige and
underlined
Josh,
that
and
what's going
Josh's
on in
mom are
countries like
coming
Sri
into
Lanka
town.
right
So
now is a
Amy's
sneak
been
peek at
cooking
what
for a
life
couple
will be
days.
like in America
Oh,
when food
nice.
shortages
Nice.
and
How's it going,
food
Bex?
really start
Good. How are
to
you?
Over
Pretty
the
good,
past
man. Thanks.
couple of years,
So
numerous US
I was
farmers came
I was
forward to
sitting at my
warn us about
desk
a perfect
working
storm that
on
is brewing in our
tracking
food
down who's
supply chain.
fucking up
In
the
the past
cryptos,
24 months
and I
alone,
heard you
US
guys
farmers
talking
and
about it.
ranchers
I'm
have
like,
been plagued by
oh
droughts,
man, they got to
rapid
hear
heat
about
waves,
this stuff
shortages,
at
and soaring prices of
at
diesel and
MIT.
fertilizer.
I mean,
A
it is
bird flu epidemic
amazing.
plus labor
The
shortages,
CEOs
fires at
of
processing plants,
both FTX,
we've seen.
Alameda, this new little kid CEO they have,
Hmm.
who's a Stanford grad. Her name is this is so good. Where is she? Here she is. Her name is Caroline Ellison. Is the CEO of Alameda Research. Alameda Research is basically part and parcel to the FTX thing. It's all part of the crypto cabal, Tether and all that.
Yes.
So
Circle, Coinbase.
I'm going down the
Block One.
path, and it's like Caroline Ellison, the CEO of this massive crypto company that basically owns or started FTX. Her dad is the head of MIT economics.
Oh boy.
The other co-CEO is an MIT economics guy. The owner of FTX, the guy, what's his name? Sam Blankfried.
Brinkman or whatever.
Bankman Fried or something like that.
Brinkman Fried,
SBF,
yeah.
they call him. He is an MIT guy.
Mhm.
And then it gets to, who benefits. I love going down the path of who benefits if there's a massive crash and all the little people who bought into all the DeFi stuff. get wiped out and are pissed off and want someone to blame. Who benefits? Gary Gensler and the SEC.
Yep.
And he's the guy who his boss was this girl's dad.
Oh man, what a tangled web we weave.
I mean,
Have you seen the video that we found of him teaching at MIT?
I watched the whole series.
Yeah, he's telling the students that if you come up with something that could be a market disruptor, that the market makers have mechanisms in place that to stifle innovation, and the only way you're going to be successful is if you give tokens or give 30 to 50% of your company to these banks or market makers for your business to be allowed to proceed.
Which is absolutely true, which would be fine if he said that, if he was open and honest about that. The problem is, which we saw with Reggie Middleton, is that the SEC is in cahoots with these criminals
and refuses to give guidance. Yes. So they stifle innovation of the little guy to allow their cronies to catch up. And whether it's stealing their ideas or what, well, thankfully Reggie was smart enough to get his stuff patented, but to put their pieces in place, and then their big market makers stay, then, you know, same boss, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, you know.
Yep.
That's what perpetuates. Yeah. No, it's insane.
I think also, I mean, the only reason that the US would have approved Reggie's patent is they wanted to throw a monkey wrench into cryptos. He deserved the patent, absolutely, from the very beginning. But just think, if his suit against Coinbase, if he wins that, then everybody has got to, almost everybody in cryptos has to come to Reggie and ask for permission. And but here's the other thing: since the patent was approved, CBDCs fall under Reggie's patents as well.
Exactly. So I sent a message to my friend Jill Casilla. She is on the board for creating the new CBDCs with Powell at the Fed. She's actually runs the bank that are in our town, the private bank. Former military, amazing human. I'm not sure what she's doing working with the Fed, but you know.
Hey, there's good guys at the Fed. Didn't you watch that video?
There's got to be
I've
good
heard that
guys
somewhere.
in. Yeah, there's got to be good guys in here and keep up the hopium. But so I sent her a message and I said, hey, you know, we're getting closer and closer. I'm seeing other countries roll out. I know you guys are pushing the CBDC. You're going to need to talk to my friend Reggie Middleton. He has these patents. I'd love to make the introduction. And so just the other day, I reached out to her to offer to make an introduction so that she can, so the door is open, and they are fully aware of his patents now. And if they want to bring the CBDCs forward, they can contact him. And so I don't know if you saw the video early on. I was up late, and, you know, it was election night and all that, and I was tweeting a little too late. I poked the bear a little bit, but Reggie came to my rescue.
Had you been drinking, young lady?
May have had a cocktail. So Reggie came to my rescue, and I got great information. He and Dr. Craig Wright had a great conversation and had really respectful banter about possibly collaborating. And, you know, just this was the example of when people are so afraid they won't even talk to Reggie. And I think it's because they don't even know, they aren't secure in their own product. Craig Wright's pretty comfortable in what he has, what he built, what he knows he's patented or what's protected. And he's like, no, I'll talk to you about it. Okay, I can be respectful. They had this very respectful exchange. He's like, I know you're doing the hard work. You're not just sitting back being a leech on society kind of thing. Those weren't his exact words, but I'm paraphrasing. And so I don't know, it was really great exchange. And then where was the part? Public, where did I end up with it that I was going to tell Bix? I've lost my Twitter.
I don't know. You came out hero, though. I know that.
Yeah, you looked great. Lisa always putting people together. That's like her knack, whether it's in the middle of the night after a few cocktails, whatever, but it still works.
She's
So I had somebody tell me I was a Nexus, and I was like, that'd be great if I could figure out how to get paid for that.
Hey, do the work, do what you love, and the money will
Yeah.
come. I have always believed that.
I agree. I know God is my protector and my provider, and I know that's a true statement. So I know I will always be taken care of. No, it was so cool because they started talking about things, and they were talking about I've got to share it.
While you're looking, I did
Yes,
hear
go
that
ahead. I'm sorry.
about 60% of Tether is locked up in this mess with FTX and all that, through Alameda and some of the, which is good. I mean, I knew the final blow that Gensler had was to shut down Tether, and that's going to be the bottom, so the bankers can get in on that after that move. What Gensler's doing is entrapment, and there's no other way to describe it. He has had 10 years, SEC's had 10 years to give us some type of framework to work around. Reggie was working with them hand in hand. They went behind his back to the Jamaican Stock Exchange and said, don't work with Reggie Middleton, even though he brought him in. He brought the SEC in and said, hey, I know it's early. I just want to do this by the book. Tell me what I need to do. And they screwed him, absolutely screwed him. So, I mean, and nobody has the money to fight the SEC. The judges that decide these cases are completely corrupt too. We're screwed unless we don't make these stupid mistakes. I think a lot of the decentralized finance yield providing setups it was a Ponzi scheme, and it was set up to implode. And Gary Gensler gave everybody enough room. He stayed off everybody's back for a couple of years so these DeFi Ponzi's could get set up. Not all of them were Ponzi's, but hey, if you're making yield off nothing and you can't prove where that yield is coming from, that's a Ponzi. It's the definition of a Ponzi. But people were just too uneducated. And Gary Gensler knew it. Gary Gensler set everybody up to get all their cryptos into these DeFi situations. And then he started pulling the plug by saying, okay, it's about time to do regulation. And I mean, this connection with MIT and FTX and Alameda research and all this it smells like shit. And Gary Gensler, we know who Gary Gensler is. He was the head of the CFTC when JP Morgan was rigging the silver market for 8 years. Everybody was screaming about it. Even his own people on the commission, Bart Chilton, said they knew JP Morgan was rigging the market, but it was a political decision not to do it, not to shut them down. It's like, what? Since when do regulators think about political decisions? That's summed up Gary Gensler for me. And it's an operation. This is an operation to get everybody to agree. Yes, SEC, come in and save the crypto world, because look what happened with FTX. Don't look at the involvement of MIT. Boy. Even the head of MIT's economics division was Gensler's boss. His daughter's in on this.
That's insane. Well, and that's where, so when we're doing all this research for Very DAO, I volunteer on the Very DAO, and I'm so honored to be asked to be part of that project and contribute. And I feel like it's really empowering to be able to work with a team that is so brilliant and have a voice right now when you feel like your voice isn't being heard elsewhere in the world, and you can really fight for the American people, for this country that I love. I was accused today by that I don't love my country because this ridiculousness anyway. And I was like, no, I don't love corruption. I love my country. I love a lawful republic that supports the Constitution and protects the people. That it's
you can love your country and hate your government. That's what a smart citizen does. If the government's not doing the things it's supposed to do, which that's the world we live in right now. So you're not unpatriotic for standing up and screaming about your leadership. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually in the preamble that it's your duty. Actually, it says
it's actually written in gold on the $100 bill. If you pull it out, it says you should overthrow your government if they're misbehaving.
Tyrannical. Yes. So I don't know. It's just crazy. But the whole Gensler thing has been insane to me, like learning about it and learning how it's all looped together. The ways that they can, oh gosh, the wording. I need to be careful with my wording, but and that's the thing. Should we be afraid of the people that are supposed to be protecting us, that they work for us, and we're all running around being afraid of saying something, instead of like, they should be terrified that they are harming us. They should be terrified that they're breaking laws like the Hobbs Act that says that you shouldn't stifle innovation in the US. They should be the ones that are afraid to walk down the street or terrified about whatever. Not all of us. We're now, since they swatted library, now every little teenage boy with Pokemon cards is terrified that Gensler's going to wake up and, you know, come after him the next day.
Only if your last name is Kardashian.
Oh, well, and then he wants to do those episodes, you know, he'll do all of those photo ops, you know.
Yeah,
where typically would
you shouldn't be afraid of your government. You shouldn't be afraid of your government, obviously. But you know, when you think about the setup for what just happened yesterday, the setup was there. The media was saying, "Oh, you know, elections take weeks to be determined," and then it's like for 6 months they were saying election deniers, election deniers, election deniers, as if that's a bad thing. If the people who run your system are fucking up purposefully or not purposefully, you should jump up and down and scream, like Trump said today or yesterday. Protest, protest, protest. That's the only thing that's missing from this whole thing. We haven't been pissed off enough. I think we will be when the Democrats end up taking the Senate in some crazy way. We found, in the bottom of the hurricane, we found a whole bunch of ballots that were floating. Well,
they're already finding them in the trash and keys on top of voting boxes and all that. Will we see what we're seeing in Brazil, where the people are like, I mean, millions of people going to their military and saying, hell no.
I don't think
we won't stand for it.
I don't think people care at all yet. I think that what is it that will make people care if their ATMs go blank, dark, and they don't get their money because JP Morgan has $58 trillion in derivatives, stuff like that will make people stand up.
Was it Ken from C60? I think it was Ken from C60 said there was a test in maybe Philadelphia that they shut off the government welfare cards, and people were fined for about 2.5 weeks, and then complete chaos. And so that was the test of the emotional time frame
tolerance,
of how long people would take it. I don't know. I think that's where we are. I think people are, and I think there's more of a silent majority now than ever. And I think they're just tired of being a polite society. I always thought of America as being kind of rough, or, especially compared to, you think of England with the pinky up and the tea and the so proper and whatever. Now I'm like, I don't know that America's not turned into a bunch of wussies. Because they've been told to be politically correct and don't say that, and you need to let them have their safe space. And but now
it's just talk now. For a lot of people, it doesn't affect them because they rig all the markets. Stock market's fine, don't worry about it. I still have my job. Now layoffs are coming. When the banks go and they try to do a haircut or try to go to a CBDC, which, there's no difference between a CBDC
and what we have now.
What we have now. They can shut off your bank account if they want. As a matter of fact, JP Morgan shut off my bank account because I wanted to take delivery of silver. And that's the thing about, going to the court too. I love the idea of the rule of law, but there is no rule of law in the United States anymore, especially in these kangaroo courts of the CFTC and the SEC. They have their own court system. It doesn't go through the Justice Department. It goes through the, what do they call them? Administrative justices. And with the CFTC, one of the judges, there's only two, one of them came out and said, these guys are cheating. This other judge is not doing his job, and he's letting everybody get away with everything. And then they said he was insane. He didn't mean to write the letter. This is just insane what we have to put up with.
It is insane completely.
Bix, have you heard, if you don't mind, have you heard the movement that's going on lately, and this goes back to something that I remember you bringing up years ago. Did you hear, or are you informed enough on the movement lately about people wanting to become sovereign citizens and the whole birth certificate thing and all that kind of stuff? I heard a very interesting fact the other night that made me think of you from like years ago, where you were the one to bring up to my attention that the DTC was the on Wall Street was the one that flooded, and then they left the doors open and it flooded and then it caught on fire and all that kind of stuff. I learned through this one gentleman who was speaking that supposedly that's one of the places that they keep the paperwork for our birth certificates that actually are traded, and they're the ones that are traded around through different places. So I thought that was a crazy thing that I heard of, that he mentioned it and he didn't know that it was that was one that flooded and then caught on fire and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to know if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I did a lot of work on the vault at 55 Water Street during Hurricane Sandy. It was a DTCC vault. The guy who was put in charge of it just like 2 months before was Michael Dunn, who was a CFTC guy, a commissioner, the dumbest man in the history of the world, who was blocking the position limits in silver. And so he retired from the CFTC, went to the DTCC where he got his big payout, made $1 million a year. And he was put in charge of this vault at 55 Water Street that held $33 trillion worth of paper contracts, bearer bonds, you name it, all the old contracts. And just a month before, they put all the swap contracts from the CFTC into that vault. And then they left the door open when Hurricane Sandy came in, because these things are airtight. After they finally got in there, the hurricane was gone. They opened the door, they pumped it out, something caught fire and burned the whole inside. I mean, that's the kind of criminality. But see,
there's a history of that, though. They've been doing that for years, to the census, to and now they're showing but they finally are reporting that the census is off in 14 or 15 states, and then magically with this vote the other night, there were National Guard at 14 or 15 different states. And so I thought, okay, well, with the Elon thing and the Twitter bots, like maybe they're finding out about that and that's going to be cleared up. I've always got the hopium going. So
I know, but after a while, I mean, it gets back to the birth certificate stuff that I didn't fully answer. I'm not. First of all, I never acquiesced to it. I never gave my consent for my soul to be attached to a birth certificate that bought and sold. And in their legal system, I would have to give my consent, my knowledge and consent that that's what I was doing.
Right.
That's under their legal system. So everything else is mute. I mean, they can pull any law out they want out of their ass. Say, I'm a natural born citizen, maritime law, and all that. If I didn't know what I was doing and agreed to it, it's not signing the backyard license. It's not signing your mortgage or anything like that. I am a sovereign soul, a sovereign individual that came onto this planet, not as I hadn't agreed to anything. And I don't agree to anything unless I fully understand it, which is part of that law that they're just trying to say, yes, I'm a sovereign citizen. And I legally, this is trying to use a legal route to get there. Doesn't matter. You're born that way. It's kind of like when you write a song, you have automatically got the copyright on that song because you created it at that moment. Now, can you prove it is the question. And that's why they have copyright law. It's like Reggie Milton. Did he or did he not invent what he was talking about? There were a lot of people talking about that stuff, but he was the first guy to go patent it.
Yeah.
And explain. And when you read the Reggie patent, it's an amazing thing. It explains, it gives examples. It explains exactly what peer-to-peer transactions will be. This was before peer-to-peer transactions was a fully developed idea.
Mm-hmm.
But he fully developed it and he patented it and he got the patent approved. So
well, and the patent just gives you permission to defend your patent.
It gives you a timestamp.
Yeah,
it says, put it on the blockchain.
Yeah. One of these days.
I didn't really answer the question other than to say I've heard so many of those. I'm Anna von Rice and
right,
and the Social Security and the Corporation of the United States of America. All that stuff to me circles around in a legal system that is completely corrupt. And you can fight and defend it, but at the end of the day, it's like the IRS tax. Income tax is completely optional. It's not mandatory. It is voluntary, and people have gone through the whole court procedures to prove it, and they get off. But nobody wants to talk about that, because as soon as you don't file your taxes, they're going to throw you in jail. They don't care what your answer is. Right. They don't give a shit. They're a political machine.
Okay.
So it's voluntary, but
you better.
Yeah.
But they will throw you in jail if you don't.
Exactly.
Right. You have to have your response to it. You have to be able to prove all those reasons why, which basically you can't for their average.
Well, people
person.
have, but it literally would take you your whole life, deplete all your money. I mean, look at what was that guy who invented the Liberty dollar?
Oh yeah.
Von, really nice guy. I met him years ago at a conference. Really nice guy. And before they threw him in jail, because he said it didn't look like a dollar. The coin that he made didn't look like a dollar. It just said $1 on it. You know, every country, there's all kinds of countries that have $1. Canada has $1, $1 Canadian dollar. Australia has $1. But they threw him in jail because they wanted to prove a point that they could, that the law doesn't matter.
And they got him on counterfeiting, right?
Yeah. They threw him in jail for counterfeiting, and
it looks nothing like any of our currency.
Nothing, absolutely. And I mean, he was just trying to prove a point that we can have a monetary system without government, and I think that's where we are headed. I think we are headed.
You do.
I think the government, let the government have their monetary system. I think it'll go to gold and silver, but that shouldn't stop anybody from transacting in anything if we're a free nation. And yes, a monetary system is great. Let the government have it to collect taxes and do whatever they want with it. But as a sovereign being on this planet, we should all be able to use whatever we want. And I think that's where we're headed.
That's encouraging. So they can keep making all the rules for typewriters that they want. And we can go use other things, other tools.
I think they're using gold and silver very soon. I mean, you look what the U.S. Mint is doing, massively expanded their silver eagle capacity, but they've only given out, they're giving out 30% right now, 32%. They're running their machines. It's like, okay, why did you massively expand capacity if you're not going to sell them to the public? What are you doing with all these ounces of silver that you supposedly can make? I think they are making them. They're getting ready for something big.
I think they're getting ready to release them to the public because there's going to be, so they just did, there was a tweet about, China, instead of Russia, now it's, China is hacking us. And,
that's the third leg. The first was, and I've been saying this for a while, the first, to take down the deep state, first there was Trump to be the bad guy. Second was Putin to be the bad guy. And third and final is Xi of China to be the bad guy.
Now they're saying that.
I mean, if we fight with China, there's nothing in the stores. We don't make anything. It all comes from China.
Even worse than it is now. Stores are getting kind of bare. Not bare, but there's a lot less what there used to be. A lot less options, and they're spread out a lot further on the shelves. It used to take up a little section. Now it's 10 feet wide for a few boxes of mac and cheese.
Imagine if China just says, "Screw you, America," and shuts their doors.
But then we do go to a system of bartering with what we have, and it's going to be a bumpy road.
But there's going to be nothing to barter for.
Well, that's
milk and honey.
There's not anything to barter for.
What we have.
Milk and honey, that would be it. There'll be no car parts. There'll be no, I mean, even the manufacturing that happens in the United States, the vast majority of it gets their parts from China. Right. There's 1 million pieces in a Ford truck. The vast majority come from China.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I mean, you can't have a car if you don't have a starter, and all the starters.
Well, that's where like this 3D printing and
but it's going to take a long time to get that production up to where we can make those own items in our country and get them out. There's going to be
I don't know. Look how fast. So with the executive orders and with the great infection, Trump turned those. I can't remember what they were building, but he made them. He forced them to change their whole factories and very quickly start making
and that was a huge
death machines.
It was amazing. It was a huge feat. But that's one thing. We're talking millions of
I know.
individual
Different parts.
sized
Yeah.
items that go into building stuff.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it'll be easy at
Look
all.
down at your iPhone right now and say, oh my God, this is the last iPhone I'll ever have.
Yeah, that would be true.
That's
And there are 1,200 patents in this iPhone.
and then they make it obsolete in a couple years because they
Yeah.
add all this new stuff.
1 year. It's 1 year now.
That's insane.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
whole thing.
And the plug-in is a mess.
Hey, I gotta go before I spend all night with you. Which is thanks. Hey, thanks for bringing me on.
We
Oh,
love
hey,
you.
Nice to hang
Thank
out with
you.
you.
So good to see
Thanks
you.
for joining us, Bex.
Absolutely. Keep it up.
All right.
Keep up the fight and follow that MIT thread. I think there's a lot there.
Agreed.
Okay. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
Oh, I just love him.
That was cool.
See, what a blessing in my life that my mom was brave enough to tell us about crypto, that my husband and I dove down the rabbit hole, that we are alive at this time. We chose to be here, like you said, and we get to have people like you, like Bix, like Sean.
That just
like
came full circle to you right there with
like,
Bix. That was like start
yeah.
to finish, like right there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fam.
It's
I
crazy.
mean, Ben, the only reason, like mom introduced us to Bix and Ben and Uncle Cliff because she was listening to Uncle Cliff, and then that's how she found Bix.
My father actually found Uncle Cliff way before I did. He was telling me, "Oh, you got to hear this thing. It's a web bot. It's a web bot." I'm like, "You can't predict this stuff. You're out of your mind." And I started reading. I'm like, "Oh, there's something to this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ben hit the road, and Bix and Ben were traveling together, and Ben was like, "Where should I go?" And I was in the chat, and I just started my little marketing company because Mia had passed away, and I was kind of reinventing myself and trying to figure out what I was going to do because I had lost my job. And I was like, "Hey, if you guys come here, I'll do all your press releases, have it at my friend's restaurant. I'll help promote it." Ben was like, "I guess we're going to Oklahoma City."
That's awesome, man.
And that's how it all started. Like, it's crazy. And now they're some of my closest friends. And that's how I got to meet you.
Yeah.
That's how I got to meet Westwood. That's how, just the whole fam came together. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But
it
I am
really
forever
is
grateful.
how things work like that. It's meant something like that is not chance. It's not chance. It's a direction you were given by something much greater.
Well, and when I said, "Oh, I got to figure out how to get paid for that," I was talking to some friends the other night, and we're going to work on a project together, and they're a little bit younger, and I was like, "You got to quit talking about the money." I said, when you are doing something that you love, then that's when you're doing what feeds your soul, you will be provided for. Like when you're here doing the thing that you were designed to do. And when you're serving others, well, that's typically you're serving others, or it will be what spills out of you will bless others in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You will always be taken care of, and you will always have the tool you need. And that, a lot of times we get caught up in the money, but like I said with Bix, like we know the money is what keeps us slaves, and the money is what we know is broken. So we got to quit asking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's like us asking for the thing that's making us sick.
Yeah.
Quit asking for that damn thing.
Good point.
I don't want that anymore.
Give me some more money. I want more money.
I don't want more money. I want more peace, prosperity, love, family, friendship, community. Like, that's what I want more of.
And then in chasing that and in following that direction, the universe provides.
Yeah.
What does Uncle Cliff say? The universe guides and provides.
What did he tell me the other night?
The universe guides and provides.
He had a great quote. Hold on. Because we're having this Zoomy time. Hold on, let me find this one email that we were going back and forth.
Then I got to jump off soon. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I got a 2-year-old running around.
Don't you want to just hang out all night? You and Biggs?
I do. No,
I'm just teasing with you.
But I do. Again,
Weird.
shout out to the chat. Thank you for joining us.
I know.
hope you
Thank
found
you
tonight's
guys for
show
hanging
exciting.
in.
We had our friend Bix come on as a guest. Thank you all. I was watching the chat, questions coming through. Just the conversation doesn't stop. It's ching, 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 ching. It just goes up in the whole night. Such a great group.
We have a great group. Where is it?
Good night, Nana. I saw somebody say good night, Nana.
Good night, Mama. Where is it?
We can start drinking and drunk tweet.
I'll have to find it. I'll have it by Friday. I'll have it by Friday. But it was so good, and it was just so thoughtful and sweet. Oh, if you can't be content, be centered like a whirlwind.
I like it.
I love that.
That's
because I was just having some real restless time with. I'm not okay with how things are. I'm not okay with how things are. He said, life is a challenge daily over time. Probably a primary purpose of life is for us to accept and decide how we will face the concept of life of challenge and largely disappointment.
But it's not what I was. This right now where we're living, the times we're living in, this isn't with a bag of goods I was sold when I was younger. This is not it. Come on, what happened? Where's the Brady Bunch? Where's the Andy Griffith? When's Opie gonna come walking by with his fishing pole, and his hat in his back pocket? Where the hell's this? Yeah. This is not what I was sold. This is not what I signed up for. But apparently it is.
It's pretty dang exciting though. And when you get to see stuff, I will tell you, I would rather be aware of what's going on, be unplugged and see what's going on and be able to see 566 and see Road to Ruta and Ayn Rand and what were those all those other things we saw in the gematria unpacking, and have Bix Weir jump on and say, hey, you need to look into this. Alameda Research, look into it. And be a part of speaking up for the little guy and be a part. I mean, this is the time that we're living in, a historic time, and our kids and our grandkids are going to say, wow, when the dollar died, what'd you do? How were you a part of it?
Yep.
And we're going to have some amazing stories to tell.
This is where we are. The public is awakening. This is the time we are now. It is truly awakening. There was a while there, a year or two ago, where you remember on our videos, I was not so happy. I was not so confident that things were going in the right direction. It was unbearable to watch at some points, but there are so many more people awake now. There are so many more people realizing, even if they don't get it fully, and none of us do, but even if they don't get how bad it is, or at least, your eyes are opening, something doesn't smell right. And with the last guy, you were sold a bag of lies. You were sold a bag of lies about what was going to go on in this country. Things are different. Things are changing, and more. That's all it takes is just that spark to get people to open their eyes. You crack your eyes open a little bit in the morning, you rub your eyes, and all of a sudden your eyes are a little blurry, and all of a sudden you're looking around, you can see the day, the lights coming in. That's when the change starts to happen. It's not that eye-opening moment. It's not that, oh, crap moment. It's not that, oh, my God, I've been, lied to moment. It's what proceeds after that. It's that growth stage, that individual growth of where things are going. And this, I think we're getting there. I think so many more people are there now. It's exciting, and I am excited in the direction of things. It's a lot.
Well, and if I can stand next to people like you, public, and our friends that are in the chat, and our family that we travel with, and our crypto fam, like, I'll stand next to you in truth any day.
Absolutely. So. I got you, sis. Wonder Twin Powers, activate.
All right. See you guys. I don't.
A drunk tweeter.
Tipsy. I do not believe I will be able to make tomorrow's show. I have another court case with.
Gotcha. Well, good luck with that. Everybody send Lisa some good mojo vibes tonight for her court case tomorrow. She's going to be stressed out. She's going to not be feeling too good. let's lift her up and get things.
I'm gonna be feeling
moving well.
great, and I'm gonna pray for justice.
Good
So
for you.
that's all I want. The truth. See ya.
See ya.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.